Hey guys, what's up? JK, the founder of Porn Reboot here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the 10 signs of porn addiction. As a professional who helps men overcome their out-of-control sexual behaviors, I've spoken to hundreds of men who weren't certain about the level of their addiction. Some of them thought that they merely had a dependency on pornography. Some of them were like, well, I masturbate a lot more than I view pornography. And some other men just felt they had a little bit of a bad habit. But all these men had one thing in common, and that was they had a problem ending their behavior with pornography and masturbation, and they had noticed that their behavior with porn and masturbation was starting to interfere with their life, whether it was their career, their academics, their family life, or their biochemistry, just their physical life, their ability to get an erection, their ability to go out there and speak to someone or be social, or it had even made them sad and depressed. So I personally struggled with porn addiction for many years, and yes, I referred to it as a bad habit and I felt that I was a little bit dependent on it, but it wasn't until I actually accepted the fact that I was struggling with an addiction that I was able to overcome it. Now, I also want to be very transparent with you. Some of the symptoms that I might mention are also symptoms that are similar to other issues that you may have. Things such as low testosterone or perhaps a thyroid issue. So I always recommend that you speak to a medical professional before suddenly deciding that you have a porn addiction. I am a professional reboot coach and mentor, so I don't diagnose. Please bear that in mind. Now let's get started. The first sign of a porn addiction is when you frequently engage in viewing pornography and masturbating over a longer period of time than you originally intended. And what that simply means is if you find that on a consistent basis, you're telling yourself, you know what, I'm just gonna get on here and I'm going to watch one or two clips and that's it. Or I'm going to watch just one clip, it's gonna take 5 minutes or 10 minutes and I'm done. But then you end up spending maybe 2 hours on there. You have multiple tabs open, you're hopping from one scene, from one genre to another, and you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper. You end up asking yourself, oh my God, how did I end up on this site? How did I end up watching this sort of clip? Well, if that's happening to you repeatedly, that is one of the signs to look out for that indicates that you may have a porn addiction. The second sign is when you experience a repeated failure to control your sexual impulses. And what this means is, listen, guys, this is a behavior of yours. Just as you can control your urge to eat food, hunger, you can also control your sexual urges. When you have a problem controlling your sexual urges, let's say for instance, every single time you experience an urge, you have to masturbate. Absolutely. You have to experience some sort of release. You have to view pornography. You have to look at something stimulating. And you try over and over and over again to stop it, then you have a problem. It's similar to somebody who has some sort of eating disorder where they can't stop eating. The moment they're hungry, instead of eating something that's healthy and nutritious, they just have to put something into their body. So when you find that whenever you have a strong sexual impulse, you immediately have to release, you cannot hold it, you cannot be aware of it and move past it, you find yourself being a slave to that impulse, and then that is a sign that you may be struggling with a porn addiction. The next sign is when you spend long amounts of time watching pornography, that's binge watching, masturbating, edging, that's masturbating without actually reaching orgasm, and recovering from your porn binges. And you become very aware of this. So if you're noticing that, wow, I do this like daily, or I masturbate 5 times a day, and I watch pornography 6 times a week, and the worst part is each time that I view porn, the next day, I just feel absolutely dysregulated. I feel absolutely exhausted and fatigued. I experience brain fog, and I'm not able to do anything productive. If you notice that on a consistent basis and you are not able to stop that, that is a sign that you may be struggling with a porn addiction. The fourth sign is when you find yourself viewing pornography when you should be working, when you should be studying, when you should be building your business, when you should be doing something, let's say, domestic at home. So if you are, let's say, studying for some sort of certification, but you always get on your computer, and the moment you do so, you immediately find yourself watching pornography. You went there to do one thing, but you got distracted and found yourself watching pornography, or you have some tasks you need to do around the house, or you run a business and there's certain important things you need to do, but you end up watching pornography instead. It is interrupting your lifestyle. It is a problem. The next sign is continuing with the behavior, continuing to watch pornography, continuing to masturbate, even when your behavior with pornography is having a financial impact on your life, when it's having a psychological impact on your life, when it's having a physical impact on your life. So let's say, for instance, you struggle with PIED, which is porn-induced erectile dysfunction, and you know that your penis is not working because of pornography. The only way you can sustain an erection is to have pornography present or to view pornography, but you still can't stop watching pornography. That's a problem. You know, if you see that your relationship is falling apart because of your porn use, that your wife is done with you, she's told you, listen, if you keep doing this, I'm out, but you still can't stop, and this is a huge consequence. Or you find that you're risking your job, you're playing these risky games at work, viewing pornography, or it's interrupting your work somehow. This is your livelihood, yet you still cannot stop, despite the impact it might have on you, or you are depressed and experience a lot of anxiety because of your porn use, and you keep doing that, brother, you have a problem. You may just have a porn addiction. The next sign is when you experience obsessive and repeated thoughts about viewing pornography, or thoughts about pornography, or planning to view pornography. So let's say whenever you're bored, if you notice that the first thing you think about is porn, you have a problem. Or every time you see an attractive woman, you don't think about talking to her, you don't think about what her personality is like, you don't think about anything, you just think about, man, she's sexy, what would it be like to have sex with her, I'm gonna masturbate to her. If those are the only thoughts, if you're driving back from home and you're like, man, I can't wait to get back home, I can't wait to get to my office, get away from the wife and kids and watch porn, you have a problem. And that's a reality, and brothers, you know it. I remember going through the same situation where all I could do, I couldn't wait to rush back home and view pornography. That was a big thing for me. You know, sometimes even in the morning, I would wake up and I'll go like, whoa, you know, I get to watch porn before I start my day. It was messed up, but it's a reality that many of us live with. The next sign is if you find that you always need to increase the intensity or the risk or the taboo nature of the pornography that you're viewing in order to achieve orgasm or in order to find pleasure from it. And this is very, very common. This is one of the most common signs of a porn addiction, where the vanilla stuff that you used to watch doesn't do it for you anymore. Maybe you started with missionary and then you moved on to anal, and you've gotten into some really messed up stuff. Maybe you're just like, you know what? Nothing turns me on if there's no violence in it. If it's not violence, I can't do it. And some of you have reached a stage where it doesn't even matter if it's violence. It just has to be something weird, or it has to be something that you don't even identify with. Maybe you're a straight man who needs to watch gay porn to get off. You're like, man, that's the only way I can get off. In fact, maybe you've even moved past that. You're a straight man, but you've moved to the point where you're just like, you know what? I need to watch a specific type of gay porn, of homosexual porn, in order to get off, and that makes you feel bad. So every time you get online, you're going straight to the most extreme thing, and that's the only way you can orgasm. This is going to affect your real sexual life. This is a problem. This is a symptom of your porn addiction. The next sign is if you find yourself giving up a lot of your personal interests, giving up a lot of your hobbies, isolating yourself, and you're removing yourself from social situations because of your behavior. Maybe because of the shame you experience, maybe because you just want to spend more time doing it, or maybe you just noticed that over time, the more porn you viewed, the less you wanted to be around people. the less motivation you had to go to the gym or engage in the hobbies that you used to. On a deep level, you know this, but you're just so deep that it's really difficult for you to build up the momentum to go out and start doing those things again. That's a sign of your porn addiction. The next sign is obvious, and that is when you are absolutely unsuccessful at controlling or regulating your behavior. You've tried it all. You've used willpower. You've tried to taper off. You've prayed about it. You've meditated about it. You've given somebody money and told them, hey, every time I masturbate, take $100. You've downloaded filters. You've spoken to a therapist. You've been to a 12-step group. You've tried so many things, and all of these attempts are unsuccessful. You never have success with it. That means you have a compulsive behavior. You need something to help you. You need to find yourself a system that works for you that's going to help you out of this behavior. That is a sign of your porn addiction. Finally, if you experience withdrawal symptoms, things like insomnia, fatigue, brain fog, irritability, depression, anytime you stay off pornography and masturbation for a period of time, that is a very clear sign that you do struggle with a porn addiction. Now, what this means is that a lot of times most men don't really understand that they experience withdrawal symptoms. And one of the easiest ways if you're struggling with porn is just to try to stay off it for 1 week and keep a journal, or just be very mindful of how you feel. And if you notice that, man, I get really irritable, or I experience a lot of anxiety, or dude, like after a week I get super depressed, or I get agitated, you've been medicating some sort of emotion with your pornography, some emotion that you don't want to deal with or you don't have a coping skill for. So when you have taken away medicine, pornography, and masturbation, naturally that pain, that strong emotion comes up and you start seeking a way to deal with it. Now, it's the same thing with the withdrawal symptom, and you start seeking a way to deal with it. So sometimes when that emotion comes up, you're just not comfortable with it. In other cases, you are addicted to the chemicals that are being released every time you view pornography. And most men are not aware of this, but your brain is a whole cocktail of chemicals and hormones every time you engage in the process of viewing porn, masturbating, and achieving orgasm. And just like a drug addict, you are addicted to those chemicals. Once those chemicals are taken away from you cold turkey, well, you're really not going to feel great, and you need guidance to get through that process. So those are a few of the signs of a porn addiction. This really, like I mentioned earlier, this is an update to a video that I've already posted in the past, but I think this is going to be good for those of you who are coming across my videos for the first time. Now, whenever you're ready, there are a few ways that I can help you end your out of control behavior with porn, sex, and masturbation. The first way is to download my free ebook. It's called Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men. And what it does is that it outlines my system, what hundreds of men have used to end their out of control behavior with porn, sex, and masturbation. The second way is you can join one of my free courses. There are links to this in the description below, or you can view one of my many free trainings with links in the description below as well. And if you feel that this is not your thing, that you're like, listen, all that stuff is great, but JK, I want to talk to you. I don't have time to go through courses. I don't have time to read books. I want to speak to somebody, and I want to begin the process to end this behavior now. There's also a link to apply for a call to speak to me and find out if you're a good fit to work with me. Alright? If you found this video helpful, don't forget to share it with some men whom you feel might benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button and on the little bell icon so that you'll be notified of when I release my next video. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'll speak to you later in the week.